Dumela America. Welcome to this very special edition of our podcast. We are here at BOTSWANA, inside the room where it happens, with Dr. Modisa, who's one of the masterminds behind Botswana's first satellite. So, Doctor, could you start off by just telling me a little bit about yourself and what your role was in getting the beautiful satellite of Botswana into orbit?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. My background, my training is in electrical and electronics. It has really been a long journey. The mission for us, for BOTSWANA, was Earth observation. That was the mission. There are many different Earth observation missions. So ours is imagery based.
Imagery of Botswana.
Of Botswana.
And that's the heart of everything.
That's the heart of everything. So we want to see Botswana. That's the whole idea. We want to see Botswana so that our government and other partners with government can make informed decisions based on what they actually see.
This project required multi-disciplines to come together. This isn't just one thing. This is a lot of things. Can you tell us a little bit about how BOTSWANA kind of came together to make this a reality?
BOTSWANA had to come together in a big way to make this. So BOTSWANA came up with the mission. So we had to conceptualize the mission ourselves and then lay everything else, how it's going to play out ourselves. So we needed all the diverse skills we could need. So I'll give an example. Our project lead, Dr. Mpoelem, whom I believe you will have a chat with, his background is computer systems and information. That's his area of expertise.
We're talking to you on Dumela America, the U.S. Embassy podcast. You know, the role of, the United States as a private sector partner in the United States in the launch of this. Could you tell me about how those pieces have all kind of clicked together to make this amazing thing happen?
Partnership were at the forefront of us achieving these whole missions. So we had a development partner for the satellite, and then we had what we call a launch broker. It's a company from Germany called X-Launch. So they work with SpaceX. SpaceX provide the launch services. What we have to do directly with SpaceX is that we have to make our payload, in this case our camera, is licensed. SpaceX requires that from us directly.
And let's talk about payload, right? So there might be a lot of one of the things that we try to do on this show is take complex government topics or complex topics and explain it for whoever might want to tune in.
Absolutely.
And one of them is the payload on BOTSAT. So what is the primary thing that this payload is?
So in this case, for BOTSAT-1, the payload is that camera.
And I hear it's a pretty good camera.
So BOTSAT-1 is a camera that has got a 16mm resolution. So our belief is that, and based on the evidence, is that this data from BOTSAT-1 is going to be really, really useful for Botswana.
As this satellite is passing over Botswana, what sort of things do you hope that it will see and then give to Botswana in terms of that imagery?
Well, I hope it sees me, but it sees everywhere. But what we are hoping that it actually gives to us is information about how our land is used. Our natural resources, our water bodies, water sources that are very vast. These images will allow scientists to actually perform all kinds of image manipulations to see things beyond what the eyes can see.
People often say things like, well, why do we need a satellite? It's it's expensive. But what a lot of people aren't aware of, these are products that scientists use, right?
Yes. It is very important that actually Botswana exercises that right to actually collect information for themselves and actually use it how they actually see fit.
Well, Doctor, thank you so much for spending a couple minutes. I could talk to you all day. Trust me, I could. This is so fascinating. But thank you so much. Thanks so much. Cheers. We're here again at BOTSWANA, at the place where BOTSAT-1 was hatched, with one of the people who made it a reality, Dr. Dumela. And you were there in California for the launch of BOTSAT-1.
Yes, I was there, and I was there from the start.
You were there from the start. So I would love to hear from you a little bit about your background. How, BOTSAT-1 came from, just something that you were thinking about to the reality that it is today.
Yeah, it was a collective thought. It was not just an individual thought. Thankfully, the university took up a challenge that was put forward by the government that they will be able to launch the first satellite. In fact, it actually exceeded our expectations of how big impact it will make in the end.
Mm-hmm. Can you explain the scene behind us?
You are looking at SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, something. Wow. There is the model. This is prepared 24 hours before the launch.
What part of this rocket was the BOTSAT-1 loaded onto? This little part up here?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
That's where other satellites were and BOTSAT.
I heard, on social media, folks saying, hey, why couldn't you just bring one of these to Botswana and launch it? Well, that's pretty expensive, right?
Well, to start with, the cost of just one rocket, it is more than the GDP of Botswana.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's about 80 billion pula. So that is why we had to hitchhike. Hey, I need my BOTSAT to be in orbit. Not that they own it, but they have the technology to launch it into space.
Folks don't understand delays. Can you explain what considerations go into being good to go for launch?
Yeah, well, I'll just pick a particular case that is our case. There was another Falcon 9 rocket ahead of us carrying somebody else's cargo. That somebody else's cargo was NASA. Apparently it had hardware issues, not the rocket.
Right.
So
because BOTSAT-1 was good.
It was good. They were actually waiting for this guy to just move. Yeah. So we had to wait for the hardware issues to be sorted out. And in engineering language, 10 days is really fast. They actually sorted it out very fast.
Wow.
Yeah. But I know the Botswana were very patient about the launch.
And you experienced a launch from nearby. How close were you to this launch site?
7 kilometers away. You are not allowed inside the 7 kilometers. So it was way, way away. But we could see because it's huge. When it launched, we know that after the stage 1 is returned, it's actually the key highlight of observing the launch. We could hear it. BOTSAT-1 separation confirmed, meaning that it's now in orbit. Unfortunately, it started by tumbling nicely, not in a bad way.
And now that is, that happened on March 15th. Here we are, BOTSAT. It's the beautiful ground station you've set up here. And I'm curious to hear more from you about, what this not just what this satellite means, but all the infrastructure that, has been built here at BOTSWANA, what capabilities that gives, and kind of what this represents in terms of capabilities and future programming from BOTSAT.
The main impact we see it have is inspiration. We've shown you earlier that we are active in outreach.
Right.
So the 16-year-olds today, they know about BOTSAT. So in 10 years, there will be better engineers of future BOTSAT missions. So that's what it means. That's one thing. Second, BOTSWANA now it's believed. Yeah. And I can tell you that even international students will have a spike of international students because of BOTSAT.
I think the interest alone says so much. So I think our viewers might not know this. This was new to me. Of all the satellites in the world that people follow on the internet, BOTSAT was the #1 most followed satellite.
Yeah, that's a good one. Actually, I forgot to mention that. There are 31,000 satellites that are orbiting around Earth or in space.
Right.
Yeah. For a week or two, BOTSAT-1 was the favorite. It was #1 out of 31,000. That is like bright gold.
That truly is.
Even today, it's always in the top 20. It is amazing and it is beyond our expectation that it would attract international attention like that. Prove me wrong. We are the first country in modern times to launch a satellite without a space agency because of BOTSWANA. So it's unbelievable that we managed to pull that off.
Yeah, I can tell you, just in being here, seeing your facility, seeing the ground station, I get such a vibe. Like this is the start of something really special. So it feels like a startup. It feels like energetic, and there's an excitement about everyone around this project. It feels very, very palpable.
And more importantly, we proved to our superiors, the government, that we did it with small resources. And then I can tell you now, the Ministry of Communications and Innovation and the Minister, Honorable Tsere, he's so much in support of this. He even convinced the cabinet to approve the budget for this year to go on to BOTSAT 2, BOTSAT 3, BOTSAT 4. Yeah. Wow. So that's how impactful it has been. Type that NORAD ID or satellite ID 63216 on Google. It will pick tracking websites that will show you exactly where the satellite is.
We're here with Dr. Damane Mpolang, who is one of the founders of the BOTSWANA program here at BUST and the start of what looks like Botswana's amazing space program. So, Doctor, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dominic.